All right, what's going on, everyone? So we got a big week this week. Unfortunately, One Piece is on break. That's okay. Kind of does that a lot. But we got a great chapter of Ichi the Witch. Exciting looking chapter of Kagurabachi. Just caught up on Akane Banashi. Undead Unluck is ending soon. All good stuff. So we're going to have a good day of reading some Jump. As always, we'll give everyone a few minutes before we get started. I will say I need to catch up on Undead Unluck. Undead Unluck. It's been like 10 months since I've read the last chapter. So I am 10 and 30, so I'm 40 chapters behind. That's okay. I could definitely catch up today and tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little ashamed of myself for letting it build up so much, but that's okay. We will read Undead Unluck. If next week is the last chapter, then that'll be the last chapter, but we will read that final chapter. I might have to see if Townsy can join me for that stream, because Mayor Townsy is huge when it comes to Undead Unluck. He loves Undead Unluck. We got Justin in the chat. Justin, how you doing today? Happy Sunday. Justin, how you doing with that Chiefs game? I was just watching that, and they're not looking so good. Your boys, the Browns, aren't looking so good. Which, to be fair, it is the Chiefs. I think I'm pretty sure I saw people saying that Undead Unluck is ending soon. Let me see. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Yeah, people are saying that they're in the final stage of the final arc, so if it's not next week, then based off of what people are saying, it's coming soon. How do I feel about Bill Belichick? Dude, that was crazy. First of all schools, he's going to North Carolina. Has North Carolina had a college football team ever? I mean, they're not bad, but I mean, when was the last time North Carolina was ranked? I don't know. It just feels very random. So I feel like they must have given him a really good deal, but I don't know. I think it's really cool. I'm definitely gonna be paying attention to that team next year. Yeah, I saw that too. Mission Yozakura Family. I'm definitely not gonna catch up to Yozakura Family in time. As much as I love Yozakura Family. I want to catch up. I just caught back up on Ichi The Witch. We're going to read that today. Caught back up on Akane Banashi. I want to catch up on Astro Royale. What else was I going to read? Undead Unluck. I do want to catch back up on Sakamoto Days. Oh, and I want to read Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, because everyone's been saying how good Kiyoshi is, so it might be slept on. Not gonna lie, I'm surprised the Elusive Samurai is still going. Not that it's bad, but I feel like it should be wrapping up soon. Then again, I haven't read it in forever. I don't know, Jump's in a weird state right now, because it has One Piece, and then that's kind of it. It also has Hunter x Hunter, but it's like, you know, who's like buying volumes of Hunter x Hunter right now? Like, nobody. Yeah, I feel like nobody would. So I heard this on local radio. People were saying that nobody would want to pick Bill Belichick because all the teams in the NFL right now are very pro analytics, because analytics is the sexy new thing in football right now, which essentially involves hiring this big, expensive new department of your franchise, paying all these guys. Hold on. Paying all these guys to, you know, do the analytics for your team. So if you have a guy like Bill Belichick who does not like analytics, right? Like, did not used minimal analytics when he was with the Patriots. If you hire a guy like that and he's not going to use the analytics, well, you just threw away like millions of dollars, because these guys are all going to still get paid, but you're not getting anything out of them. So as much as it would be nice to have a guy like Bill Belichick on your team, it would cost you way more than you would actually make with him on the team. Anyway, let's read Ichi the Witch, because Ichi the Witch was really good this week. I just caught back up. So, excuse me. Cowboys would have made sense, but Jerry Jones loves the attention. The Cowboys are such a weird franchise. I don't even hate the Cowboys. I just am perplexed by them. Everything they do is just so dumb. So we have Ichi the Witch. Now, I read this manga, like, chapter 1 release. I was like, wow, this is really good. It's refreshing. It feels familiar, but it's got a main character that's clearly unique. The art looks great, obviously. That's another manga I need to read. I need to read Act Age. I feel like I would appreciate the art in this manga more if I read Act Age. But the character chemistry, that was the one thing I was like, all right, let's see how this cooks, right? Like, let's let them cook. The character chemistry in this manga is great so far. I love the chemistry between Ichi, Discaris, or however you say her name, the one witch girl. I love how Ichi kind of like bounces off the conventional witches. And we finally got what appears to be a big bad in the story. This character that is the god Magic. So, with Ichi the Witch, I feel like it's got everything to be Shonen Jump's next big thing. Like, not necessarily like the next JJK or the next Demon Slayer, but like one of its new flagship titles. I mean, it's got a great art style. It's got a unique premise. The fights are great, considering it's only 15 pages. And assuming this is the big bad or like the first big villain, he seems pretty interesting. Like, just in 2 chapters, they've hyped him up pretty well. So I feel like Ichi the Witch has all the elements of a mainstream success. It's also just really fun to read, which is important. I don't see a lot of people really talking about it. I do see regular, reactions to it every Sunday, but it hasn't really blown up yet. It seems to be doing much better than Astro Royale, because when Astro Royale came out, everyone kind of gave their 2 cents on the manga. But since then, I have not seen anyone talking about it, like, at all. I know there's discourse, and I know the manga is selling volumes. It's making decent numbers, but I don't see anyone like pushing the Astro Royale agenda. Ichi the Witch is 15 chapters in as of today, and it's looking good so far. But as of today, my one concern is that it really, like, if it wants to be like a big mainstream hit, it needs to really add that wow factor, like that JJK factor, that Demon Slayer factor, My Hero Academia, Black Clover even, right? That, like, it needs like that big hook, that like that one big fight that everyone loses their minds over, and all of a sudden everyone's hyping it up to the point where people see it so much on Twitter and Reddit and YouTube that they're like, okay, I have to check this out. That being said, I mean, this is the same author that wrote Iruma-kun, so I have every ounce of faith in their competency and their talent. It's not that I'm doubting. What I am doubting is, or not even doubting, just what I'm questioning is, especially in a magazine like Shonen Jump, how big it's going to get and what kind of longevity it has. Because it has all this potential. It's got an artist that everyone was begging for them to do a new manga, and it's got a writer that is already writing a huge manga. Whether you read it or not, Iruma-kun is a hugely successful manga, and the anime is also very popular. So you got a great writer, a veteran writer, and you have a relatively new artist that people have been begging to work on a new manga. So with all of that considered, if Ichi the Witch were to somehow fail in any sort of way, get cut, not get an anime, whatever, it would be criminally disappointing. A big factor for Ichi may be hard. Iramakun is great and has great moments, but it cooks slowly. So the thing I'll say to that is, so Iramakun, is that in Weekly Shonen magazine, or is that Weekly Shonen Sunday? Which magazine is that in? Manga published. Okay. Weekly Shonen Champion. Okay, so I am not familiar with Weekly Shonen Champion. If it's anything... Shonen Champion, thank you. I'm not familiar with that magazine. I don't know. Let's see what's currently running. So it has Baki. Okay. Currently running manga series. Baki. Yep. So really the only other big one is Baki. So that is kind of my point with, I don't know what the state of the magazine was, or what the, I guess, table of contents looked like when Iramakun first came out. But my presumption is that it didn't really have any huge competition. So it has the room to kind of do its own thing without the pressure of getting cut. With Shonen Jump, they're constantly like cycling through manga, and like if you're not it after, 3/4 or a year, then they're gonna cut you loose. Like they have a very strict idea of what they want this magazine to look like. So if at any point they feel like a manga is a waste of space, they cut it loose, and they cut it loose fast, like out of nowhere. They'll be like, oh, this manga ending in 4 weeks. Excuse me, I was sorry, I was losing my mind. I was falling down the Twitter rabbit hole. Anyway, so my point is, Ichi the Witch, as of chapter 15, has all the potential to be the next big thing in Jump alongside Kagurabachi. What I think it needs in the next month or so is like a really good fight, like a wow factor fight that people who wouldn't necessarily check out the manga right now, they see that fight and they're like, oh, this series is sick. And then it gets them to actually check out the manga. It needs a big fight that opens up its mainstream appeal. That being said, so if we look at this week's chapter, right off the bat, the color pages are gorgeous as usual. One thing I will say about um, Shiro Usazaki's art style, when they do like color pages, their art is very saturated, but in a like digestible way. Like, especially when you look at Ichi's eyes are very saturated, but it's colorful in a way where you don't want to throw up. So, to me, like, I can't wait to see what the volume covers look like. But we switch into this exchange between Ichi and this mysterious magic, and he calls out Uroro, who right away is like hiding from this guy. We see that they seem to have some kind of history. Uroro is like, yeah, I've been avoiding them. I've been lying low. He calls Ichi a mouse, which I'm not really sure what he means specifically by that, but my presumption is that he is essentially saying that Ichi is like this little thing that runs around a lot but is no threat whatsoever. If you look at pages 10 and 11, this is an example of what I really like about this manga, and incidentally, Usazaki, right? The paneling in this manga is really good. It's not like Chainsaw Man paneling or anything crazy like that, but it's very dynamic, which I like. Because the number one thing I hate in manga is when I start a manga and the art style is gorgeous, but then you get to the fights and it's just squares and rectangles. The paneling is good, and the sequencing is good as well. They also do a really good job of hyping up this villain, because immediately once this character shows up, everyone drops what they're doing and they're like, it's like an oh shit moment. Like, all the top witches are like, okay, drop what we're doing, you know, F this, right? This is no game. We got to stop this person. They say it's an S tier magic. They say they attacked 15 years ago with no warning. A chunk of a mountain 3 miles in diameter, including 2 towns, was warped out in the blink of an eye. And then they just show this like giant warped hole of skeletons and bones and like miasma. It's crazy. The association's greatest enemy. We've been hunting it for years. If Uroro is the king magic, then this one and its ability to carve out and warp chunks of the world is the god magic. We named it the World Hater Magic. So they do a really good job of hyping up this character. He shows up, Ichi is immediately suspicious of him. He shows up again. Ichi is like, yeah, I don't care about this fight. I just sense insane bloodlust. He's got a really cool but mysterious design. All the witches hype him up. They're like, he's our biggest enemy. He attacked 15 years ago. He's been a threat ever since. He can wipe out a mountain and villages in an instant. Um, if and then they build off of Ururo because Ururo was like the shit in chapter 1, but now they're like, actually this guy is like an even bigger deal than him, excuse me. If he's a king, then he's a god, right? They do that thing from the DBZ abridged Broly special where they're like, what's a king to a god? And then they call him the world hater. Bro, I want that title. Are you kidding me? Do you know how sick of a title, of a brand, of a tag that is to be the world hater? You're the hater above haters, a hater's hater. So they're like, this dude is a massive dick and he can kill like an entire country basically in the blink of an eye. So like right there, they hype him up to be a big deal. So I really like that. It's got me like dying to read the next few chapters. Also, talk about bars. He goes, you asked me a question earlier, how many people have I killed? You misspoke. You should have asked, how many am I going to kill? So he tells Ichi, first of all, listen, you haven't been doing this hero thing very long, have you? That's not the question you should have asked. So he's telling him how to do his job. And then he says, well, it's not how many people have I killed. It's how many people am I gonna kill, right? So he's got aura, for sure. He's got aura. And then, of course, Ichi does the classic shonen protagonist thing where he's like, oh, big bad villain that I should be scared of? Okay, cool, fight me, right? And I think we can safely assume that Ichi is going to get his ass kicked. I mean, they're hyping this guy up to be the biggest magic in the universe. So I have a feeling this is not going to go well for Ichi. But I could be pleasantly surprised. That being said, this was a really good chapter. Obviously, it does a ton to hype up this new character, which has got me invested. I think I picked a really good point to start binging the manga, because now I want to read it weekly. And as far as 2025 goes, I think Ichi the Witch is definitely safe from the cut, but looking at 2025 going into 2026, if it wants to, stick around for more than like 3 or 4 volumes, I really do think it's going to need that wow factor. It's got to build some hype. But overall, I'm very impressed and incredibly excited, to read this manga. But on that note, I think what we'll do is we will read Kagurabachi and then we'll probably call it a day, because there's no One Piece, and I could review the Akane Banashi chapter, but I read it earlier and it was very good, but I don't really have anything to say about it. The only displeasure in the chapter is for Komugi not acquiring the mushroom magic. There was the potential for comedy. Yeah, but I think that was kind of the point. I think kind of the point of setting up this big bad character was like to, have the contest and then be like, okay, everybody drop what they're doing. Big bad. Let's go defeat him. That being said, I don't think they're just going to forget about the mushroom magic. I think that's going to come back. But we'll see. So for everyone in the chat, what would we... I know it's only 15 chapters long right now, but what would we rate Ichi the Witch so far? I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. I think it has a lot going for it, but it has a lot more room to grow. An 8 or a 7.5. It's solid, not groundbreaking, but still giving some fresh impression. Yeah, it's definitely making its own spot in Shonen Jump. But again, when we get into that conversation of like longevity and mainstream appeal, it really hasn't hit that like wow factor yet. Justin's given it an 8. Yeah, I could definitely justify an 8. Justify Justin's 8. Anything higher than like an 8 is a little much. Like if you said it was a 9 out of 10, I'd be like, let's not get crazy. Anyway, let's read Kagurabachi, and then we can call it a day. So we have chapter 61, Night Battle. If you recall, we ended last week with the John Wick moment where they were like in the elevator in the park, and they were all dressed up in their ninja uniforms, quote unquote, which are literally just suits. So we open the chapter, and I'm assuming this is a flashback, but they're eating at a cafe. And they explain this is how we operate. For the time being, you're the Masumi's new master. So he's sort of inherited Uraha, I believe is his name. Or no. Samura, I believe, is who they were responsible for. But Chihiro says you guys are too overprotective. Your wounds aren't healed. Yeah, but I can feed myself. I didn't even realize they're feeding him and giving him tea. That's hilarious. What's his name with the glasses, the little kid? He says, let's take stock of the situation. Right now, the Kamunabi, Hishaku, and Samura are in a three-way deadlock. The leadership sent us to take some kind of preemptive action, but while you were resting, we scoured the landscape and we found no trace of the Hishaku. Mr. Samura, on the other hand, left us a hell of a trail, even in broad daylight. If we trace the spirit energy, we can find him. If you draw N10, Mr. Samura might try to kill you. In other words, we can fight Mr. Samura anytime we want. Which I'm assuming they're saying, if we fight Samura, then we're just going to draw the Hishaku. But if we try to fight the Hishaku, then we have to deal with Samura. We are the Kamunabi's best counter Samura force. Personally, we want to knock some sense into him as soon as possible. They want to kill him, but only Mr. Samura can put pressure on the Hishaku. We don't want to let the Hishaku force our hand, or we could kill innocent bystanders. Is there a plan? Yeah, there is. We have leverage. They have a hostage. They have his daughter. We could have had Samura in the palm of our hands, but unfortunately, just over 2 years ago, and they show an article, cause of death, acute heart failure. Mr. Samura had a daughter. I mentioned that we paid a visit to Mr. Samura's family. He and his wife divorced long ago and were living apart. But if she's dead now, when I heard he'd killed you, it occurred to me that for Mr. Samura, death is how he distances himself from the people he cares about. During our service to Samura, he only used us once as ninja, and that was to fake her death. Mr. Samura's daughter is living under a secret identity. Interesting. She is their leverage. Even so, there's no way they could track her down, not with the spell that was cast on her. That spell makes it impossible for other people to recognize her as Samura's daughter. She herself wouldn't realize she is his daughter even if she met him. So nobody knows it's her except for Samura? Presumably. Centauria and Kagurabachi have been good. Yeah, I keep hearing good things about Centauria. So, for everyone in the chat, if you read Centauria, give me like the spark notes. What is Centauria about? Because I keep meaning to start reading it, but I keep forgetting. But like, sell me on it. What's the elevator pitch? So the girl in the ninja group says if there's a change in the spell on Samura's daughter, that she can detect it. And so far, nothing has changed. Now, for some reason, I find that doubtable. But we just have to assume that's true. If the Hishaku is putting its hopes of defeating Samura on her, taking her into our custody would serve as a check against both of them. Chihiro asks where she is. We cut to Kyoto. So it looks like we're introduced to two Hishaku characters. One is this tall character in this white jacket. A little scared for next batch. People saying Hakutaku is going to get axed. What is Hakutaku? I'll have to take a look after Kagurabachi. Which sucks because it's literally an awesome manga, a manga about making video games. And there are even rivals in it. Which manga is that? But we have these two Hishaku characters. One is this tall character in a white jacket carrying one of the enchanted blades, kind of in a street punk looking character. He says he wants to slice something, so clearly, you know, he's a wholesome dude. And then we have the other Hishaku character who's wearing this like black dress with like a waist ribbon, and she's got her hair short and curly. The tall character is named Kuguri. Yura sent a message out to each team. It's almost time. Thanks to Hirohiko, this is going to be a hassle. His tactics and kills are so half-assed. Yura spoils him too much. Hirohiko's in rehab. He can't touch the enchanted blade. So, presumably, or pretty clearly, these are the two characters that are hunting down Mr. Samura's daughter. They have no idea where she is. According to Yura, she can't be found. He also said that if we wait, they'll reveal the goods. Interesting. But based on the last panel, she appears to be a student. Presumably like a high school student. Nervous for Undead Unluck, but out of the 2024 titles, the main ones that have my attention to be major flagships are Ichi the Witch and Shinobi Undercover. Let's take a look at Shonen Jump for a second. So we have, which one is Shinobi Undercover? Okay, so I see Hakutaku. Shinobi Undercover. Okay. Let me see. Centuria is kind of like Vinland Saga, where a guy named Julian is sold as a slave, and in the process he gets a power, but at a cost. And also I think why people liked it is because the author was an assistant to Fujimoto and Dandadan's author as well. Ooh, I definitely have to check that out then. I also think this is going to be tough, as out of the 8 titles from 2024 that remain, only 7 of them really feel like a tough competition amongst themselves while challenging the current vets. Well, I'll say this much. I think if anything were to get axed, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Jump is in a really weird state right now where everything is consistent. Nothing besides One Piece or Kagurabachi is really like top, like really doing well. but nothing's really doing bad either. Like, somebody might say, you know, Kyoshi might get axed, but I'm pretty sure it got a recommendation not too long ago. I saw somebody on Twitter say that the author was an assistant to Oda, if I'm not mistaken. Not that that, you know, gives them the jail-free card, but it is a sign of confidence. And from what I hear, like, I only hear good things about it. I hear that it's been really fun to read lately. I'm going to read it myself, hopefully today, and get an opinion of it myself. So yeah, I don't really know. Some other people might say Astro Royale, but Astro Royale is kind of in the same position as Kyoshi, it feels like. I'm pretty sure Astro Royale has sold either 500,000 volumes or 1,000,000 volumes. Or it's done 1,000,000 units, excuse me. I think it's got 1,000,000 units in circulation. So I don't think it's going to be Astro Royale either. I'm not really too sure. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. If they do cut anything, though, I won't be terribly surprised, because honestly, everything is kind of in the same boat, relatively speaking. I keep hearing everyone saying Nue's Exorcist is criminally slept on. Like, it's the biggest sleeper in Jump right now. If that were wrapping up, I would say that would be the manga to cut. But I haven't really seen anyone saying that it feels like it's wrapping up. So again, that one. Now that I say it, though, Nue's Exorcist is in that, like, action series boat of Jump. So I feel like if they were going to cut a manga, it would probably be Nue's Exorcist. Because they have Ichi the Witch, Sakamoto Days, Kagurabachi, Undead Unluck, which is wrapping up soon. Elusive Samurai. I don't know. It's in a really weird spot right now. But yeah, we have One Piece next week, right? One Piece is coming back, or is it on break for another week? Yeah, One Piece is coming back. I'll be curious to see what kind of chapter we get for One Piece. And then Hunter x Hunter, I think, is on break for for however long. So, Jump's in a good spot. It's unclear what direction they want to go in, but everything they have right now, it seems pretty good. So on that note, we'll wrap things up. Video tomorrow. Stream Tuesday. It'll be some kind of Dawn to Dawn stream. Then stream Thursday. We'll pick back up with Dr. Stone. We'll read some Dr. Stone and talk about the new series. Hunter x Hunter is back on hiatus. Yeah. Indefinite. That was the word I was looking for. Ichi the Witch is supposed to be like the next king. Yeah, but, it's still pretty early and it doesn't quite have that wow factor yet. It's getting there for sure. But stream Thursday. Thursday we'll be reading Dr. Stone. Video Friday, video Saturday. So yeah, we got an exciting week. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you, everyone, for checking out the stream. Had a lot of great discussion. Had fun talking about Ichi the Witch finally again. It had been a hot minute. And yeah, look forward to all the great stuff this week. Thank you for coming out as always. And I look forward to hearing from you all soon.